What's up, everybody? I'm Dakota. This is Poker Room Reviews. We grade every poker room on the same 6 categories. That is atmosphere and quality, management, food and drink, service, game selection, promotions, and rake. Each category is worth 5 points for a total of 30 points. With that being said, welcome to part 1 of the Poker Room Review series. The poker room on the chopping block today is Jamul Poker Room and Casino in Jamul, California, Southern California. It's about 30 minutes south of San Diego. It's a pretty popular casino in the Southern California region, from my understanding, and host of some mid-sized poker tours. In fact, the reason I ventured down there to play at this poker room was because the Run Good Poker Series was going on, and I wanted to speak to them about representing some merch there, sponsoring some giveaways, and potentially playing in some ring events, which is what ended up happening. I did play in some ring events while we were there, and I figured that I would rate this room while I was there as well. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Category number 1, atmosphere and quality of product. All right, our goal in this section is to portray the vibe and the atmosphere of the poker room, and also rate the quality of the cards, the chips, the tables, the room itself, what it looks like, how it feels, that kind of thing. My first reaction was when I walked in, I was so shocked at how small this room is. I showed up for a poker series, a Run Good poker series, and I saw 10 tables in the room. I was very confused. They ended up hosting the series right around the corner from the poker room in like a little event area that held another, I would say, 15 tables or so. So even with those 15 tables, it's still a pretty small venue or poker room in general. It seemed like a little outdated, kind of a labyrinth to find the poker rooms, and overall the room just seemed a little dingy in my opinion. They did have some TVs on the wall, however they are extremely small compared to the wall that it's on and how far away it is from you, so it's almost like they're not even there. As far as the atmosphere goes, you are literally feet away from the casino floor, which is terrible because all day long it's just the dinging of slot machines and the suffocating smell of cigarette smoke, which the deafening smell of cigarette smoke is always wafting. Couldn't imagine playing in this poker room 8 hours a day and multiple times a week. As far as moving on to the quality of product that they're producing, I will say that the cards were horrible. I can't come up with a better word than horrible. They were completely U-shaped, U-boating up, extremely small font. This one's kind of nitpicky, but I'm from Florida and Texas games where I'm used to an ace looking like the Great Pyramid of Giza. However, the ace looked like it was size 8 font Times New Roman. And for some reason with 20/20 vision at 25 years old, I'm squinting to see what hand I have. However, the cards were extremely cheap and U-boating. Plastic chips, casino chips, nothing really to talk about there. You know, they were fine. Say that the chairs were terrible, but I will digress in a second. So the chairs were terrible. They were just your standard chair that you would sit in at a high school graduation. No wheels, no back support, you know, super uncomfortable. However, here I have this image showing the poker room itself, and the chairs that are on normal tables look significantly more comfortable. So I will give them a pass on this one. The last part of this is the tables, which I was actually extremely pleased with. They're super nice. I would say that the felt on them is pretty unique color and very pretty, very well upkept. The leather, very nice. Not only that, but I feel like their poker tables are bigger, larger in size than most normal poker rooms. I felt like we were 9-handed and I had a lot of space still. So that's a huge win for them. Overall, however, I have to give this poker room a 2 out of 5 on atmosphere and quality of product. I just think the cards are way too cheap. The poker room's a little small, and then the cigarette smoke is deafening. Moving right along in this review, we hop into category number 2, management. Now, what we're looking for here is that things are run very smoothly. Players aren't waiting obsessively for certain things. Floors make correct calls. This was the worst ran tournament I have ever played. Ever. The floor, you know, he's collecting a paycheck. So context, this is during a Run Good poker series. This is not some daily tournament that they put on. This is a ring event. This is a sponsored tournament series that is here. I will say that this was so bad. The event I played was a bounty. We receive a seat card for every time we knock somebody out, and the floor will come and give us a bounty. People were waiting obsessively for these bounties to come around, for the floor to take their card and then give them $50. Not really that big of a deal. but it was just the first red flag. At the end of registration, you know, it says total entrants, and then it'll say players remaining. Well, after registration was over, we waited hours for them to update this. It was 94 players that entered. We were getting pretty deep, and they still did not have a number up of what players remained. Like, we had no idea. They finally updated the number at 29 players. We're playing this guessing game of how many people are left. The board said 28, and then we just condensed down to the final 2 tables. So, you know, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I guess we entered the money at 12 people, and when we entered the money at 12 people, the board still said that there were 16 players left. I mean, we were literally the entire time was playing a guessing game of how many players were left and when we were going to enter the money. Several times when we were pausing the clock to condense tables, do redraws, make an announcement. He did not pause the clock. It was really quite frustrating. I have to say, this was the worst tournament management I have ever seen. Add a little asterisk to this by saying, I only played tournaments that day. I did not play cash games, so I cannot comment on the management and the flow of the cash games. With all that being said, I have to give the management at Hummel a 1 out of 5. I'm not kidding, it was that bad. This is a quote from a dealer. Quote, they're as good as updating that board as they are at updating their website. When I'm experiencing something like this and I'm hearing from dealers and players that this is an extremely regular thing, I have to give a card room a very bad rating. Moving along to number 3, food and drink. Now, in this section, we only grade on the actual food and drink, not on the service itself. That's a different category. So, that being said, the menu that I received for the poker room was extremely limited, in my opinion. I ended up going with the peppered Angus beef, and it was so, I want to use the word gamey, that I could not finish it. I ate about a fourth. Closer to the end of the tournament, I started to feel extremely hot, not the hot you want to feel, and I started to get extremely queasy. This was about 2 hours after I ate the beef, and I ended up being food poisoned or food sick the rest of the night. I busted out of the tournament 7th. I could not get home fast enough. I could not even be near my wife or baby because I was so sick the rest of the night. Now, obviously, food is a one-off. I will say that it seemed like beverages for free. People did not seem to be paying for Red Bull or sodas, coffee, that kind of thing. Bottles of water and tubs around the room for you to grab. So that, I will say, is a good thing. Another thing to note is that people are always eating in a poker room, I feel like. And I was the only person that ordered any food during this day. I did not see anybody else during this 8 to 10 hours eating any food, which is extremely alarming. I look back and think about it now. Another thing, that this Angus beef that I ordered was like a little to-go ramekin, and it was $25. Overall, I have to give the food probably a 2 out of 10, and the only reason I'm giving it the 2 out of 10 is the fact that people did not seem to be paying for Red Bull, small alcoholic beverages, and things of that nature. So that is nice. Hopping right into number 4, service. Had some super good pros, some really bad cons. I will say that the food and beverage service, the ladies that were walking around and taking orders and giving drinks were phenomenal. Were checking on us all the time. I didn't see anybody waiting. She was very fast with drinks, multiple ladies throughout the day. So I will say that the food and beverage side of the service was phenomenal. However, the dealers it's a double-edged sword, because every dealer that dealt to me that day was nice and seemed to be chatty, had regulars at the table that they were talking to, were very personable. But the dealers made so many mistakes throughout the day, it was asinine. I feel like I corrected a couple mistakes per down per dealer, and throughout the day, it just gets very tilting. You know, dealers are constantly miscounting chip stacks, saying the wrong amounts, I'm correcting the amount, and all that. It's just a lot of nuanced problems that kept occurring. Like I said, double-edged sword, very nice personal dealers, lots of mistakes throughout the day, not super professional. So with that being said, service is gonna get a 3 out of 5 for me. A lot of that just being the anchor of the food and beverage wait staff that was helping us. I would say that is the majority of where this points is coming from. Number 5, promotions and rake. Now, the rake is atrocious. It is $7 drop. So if I raise the $10 and get called, there's $20 in the pot. We see a flop, there's now $13 in the pot. It is a $7 drop. No matter what street you're on, no matter what's in the pot, $7 is coming off. That's really high. So if we see super high rake like that, I need to see really high promotions and a lot of promotions for me to somewhat justify it. Okay, I don't know if it's justifiable, but I'm just saying to somewhat seem like they're giving some of the money back to the player. And believe it or not, Hummel is actually doing that. They do a hourly give back. So if you play up to, I think if the cap is 100 hours in a month, then you can earn up to $400 back. That's $4 an hour. So that's actually not bad. They give it to you as cash as well, which I thought was really cool. They have several high hand promotions throughout the week. And one of them was actually pretty interesting, where every week they give away 65-inch TVs, PlayStation 5s, Xbox Ones, and iPads, which I thought was really cool. I mean, going to the poker room and walking out with a 65-inch TV, well, actually, now that I said out loud, sounds like a pain in the ass, but would be really cool. Or walking out with a PlayStation 5, right? It's something like tangible. That's not money. I think that's a really cool promotion. So I'll give them that. They also have bad beats, and it seemed like the bad beats were uncapped because some were really high and some were in the 60,000s. Which is a super good bad beat. I know that a lot of poker rooms now don't even have a bad beat, or it's capped. And not only was the bad beat uncapped and pretty high, it also was only aces full of kings to be beat. It was not a certain amount of quads to be beat or something astronomical. So shout out to Hummel for that. So for this category, I am going to give them a 3.5 out of 5. I really can't give them a 4 just because the rake is so high and they still could be doing a little bit more as far as promotions go. Moving on to the last thing, which is game selection and variety. Now, I think that this is where Hummel wins against its competitors in the Southern California region, which is not a super popular poker region. I'm learning by being here. But while I was there, I saw several 1-2 no-limit hold'em tables running. I know that they had a higher stakes 2-5 game that runs throughout the week and the weekend, so you can play higher. I believe it was uncapped or had a large cap, so that's kind of their bigger game of the room. They also were running 1-2 PLO, and they had a 5-5 PLO that was uncapped, so they did have some variety amongst the games, and they had PLO. I mean, any place that has PLO, I love to see some PLO being played and spread regularly. As far as the competition there, from what I saw, it was non-existent, and I have heard from several other people that play at these places that the games are great, which makes sense because it's not a super popular poker region. You're not going to see a lot of crushers in this area. I mean, by far, one of the softest tournaments I've ever played. Hummel has that going for it, which is like kind of its shining thing. Decent game variety and pretty soft games from what I saw. So just based off of that, I'm going to have to give it a 4 out of 5. And that right there, folks, is a wrap. Man, I feel like we just sat here and blasted Jamul Casino for quite a while. I didn't mean for it to be like that. I'm just trying to give an honest review. If you watched this and you felt like I got it absolutely wrong, please let me know in the comment section. This whole series is meant to spread knowledge of poker rooms, not to spread hate. Please let me know down below. Let the people know down below. And just like that, final review and score for Jamul Casino is a 15.5 out of 30. Not a super great score. All right, with that being said, thanks for watching. Check out some other videos that I do, or give the merch a look. This is my company, Gamble or Die. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.